erase our history. Our people are dumbed down enough without them not knowing their history. So that's part of the reason that I'm supporting him, but I'm also supporting him because I don't like the establishment. He'll turn on us in a year or so. Just kidding.
Never gonna happen.
Without further
Never
ado,
gonna happen. Well, thanks a lot. Well, first of all, Carrie, I want to thank the two of you for opening up your house today. So give them a round of applause. Yeah. And we're not going to do the circle of prayer this time, right?
Good Lord. The eternal circle of prayer.
That's right.
You have to edit that out of the speech.
And yeah. So, and then also, I did want to introduce my wife, Maria. Of
Yay!
22 years. So we're down here. We're down here for. All right. This is my bodyguard, everybody. That's for all the liberals. Watch out. Yeah. So. You know, we came down yesterday. We had a little forum. Frank and I did, I should say, because Ed doesn't show up at forums anymore. He hasn't shown up at anything really for the last 6 months. We were like, we were wondering about his health. I mean, is the guy still alive or what? I mean, he's just like no show Ed. And then again, we had a press conference this morning. It went pretty well, pretty good attendance. Even a very nice article written by the
Virginian pilot.
by the Virginian pilot.
What?
Who
That's
knows?
right. Yeah.
A fair, balanced, and pro article from the pilot.
That's unheard of.
So, and then we have another event with the Common Grounds Coalition tomorrow in here, and it's that's at 6.
Yes.
6 o'clock
In Norfolk.
in Norfolk, and so anyway, I won't keep it very long. You know, I like to try to keep these as fun as possible, and you always throw great parties.
Except for that circle of prayer part.
You know, we've got 3 weeks. Yeah, that's right. The circle of prayer. Was that entertainment last time over there? But it worked. It worked. Trump got elected. We have a real president of the United States. So we have the elections coming up exactly 3 weeks from today. So we're almost there. Here's the issue. Nobody has data. Nobody knows who's going to show up to vote. We haven't had a Republican primary except for last year, but last year was an anomaly. You know, we had 1 million people show up for the Republican primary. And that data is almost useless because all we know is that we have no idea whether they're going to show up this year or not. Obviously, most of them won't. Then the last Republican primary, statewide primary in Virginia was in 2005. Wasn't even very competitive. So no one knows who's going to vote. But we do know from what we're seeing at doors. And by the way, Waverly, you're doing a wonderful job.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Awesome.
So I couldn't have found a better person really for this entire part of the state than Waverly Woods. She's done a great job. It really has.
Did you all hear that? Thank you. Oh my goodness.
Now she's gonna want a raise.
I know.
She's gonna want a raise. But we have a great organization. My campaign manager is actually ran the ground operation for Cruz in Iowa, pulled off the upset for Cruz. That's what we brought him in for. We have other Cruz people on the campaign. And the reason is we wanted to combine the Trump organization with the Cruz organization to create kind of a hybrid anti-establishment conservative coalition, which is coming together. And as people, you know, when we were doing our own internal polling and we were knocking on doors and doing phones several weeks ago, you go to somebody's door and they weren't paying attention. They were just we just came out for the presidential. Now they're starting to pay attention. As we get closer to the election, more and more people are deciding. They're going on the internet. They're looking at these articles that are written, you know, on the internet. All that stuff is helpful, very, very helpful, because people are now starting to take a serious look at the candidates for governor. So what do I have to offer? The big thing is a couple of things. One, I've been leading. Not just, you know, member of a General Assembly, or in the case of Ed, he's never been elected to anything. He's never governed anything. I've been governing the second largest locality in Virginia. We just surpassed Virginia Beach in terms of size, and I'm countywide elected directly as chairman of the board. That's 454,000 residents. It's 54% minority, and I've won it 4 times, countywide. In bad years and good years, I've been able to win Prince William County. No other Republican has won Prince William County since 2009, and that was Bob McDonnell. Ed Gillespie lost it in 2014. The president lost it in 2016. In 2013, Cuccinelli, the whole slate lost Prince William County by a landslide. I've won it, 2006, 2007, 2011, and 2015. And here's why. You know, we have a 60-40 Democratic district. It's very, very hard to win it as a Republican. But even Democrats appreciate a couple things that we've done. The lowest taxes in the region, the lowest taxes in Northern Virginia by 30%. I've been able to cut spending, cut taxes, and that's what I want to do for Virginia. We have some of the highest taxes in the East Coast, and it's starting to show. We've been complacent, so heavily dependent upon the defense sector, so heavily dependent upon not just defense, but the federal sector in general in Northern Virginia. And now that that's because of sequestration that's been narrowing, the impact on Virginia has been, we're not growing like we should be growing. North Carolina has been cutting their taxes. They started with a 7.75% top marginal income tax rate in 2010. And today, just 7 short years later, they have brought it down from 7.75% to 5.49%. And we're stuck at 5.75%. And we're losing jobs, about 10,000 jobs per year. What I'm going to do, and I said this to the newspapers and the TV this morning, we're going to do zero-based budgeting. Can you believe it? Virginia has never done it, ever. They've never gone through a zero-based budgeting analysis. We know that from the limited audit of just the various accounts at VDOT a couple of years ago during the McDonnell administration, several $billion was found just in that brief audit of VDOT. Now we have to do it for all the departments. And we're going to require each of the departments to look for savings, to force them to identify potential cuts. The governor's office will then make the cuts and present the budget to the General Assembly. Out of a $52 billion budget, all we got to do, we've got to cut $2.2 billion. It's a lot of money, but it is a $52 billion budget. And with that, in the first year when I'm governor, we are going to finance the biggest tax cut in Virginia history. We're going to bring it down from 5.75% to 4.75% in a single year here in Virginia.
Amen. All right.
So, I'm not just doing that for political reasons. I'm not just saying that to get elected. The reason I want to do that, the reason we need to do that is Virginia has to show a big, bold sign that it is serious about retaining businesses. It is serious about its tax climate of reducing spending, reducing taxes, getting off the back of small businesses, most of whom pay taxes at the personal income tax rate. And when we do that, it sends out a strong signal. You can't just do the kind of this pansy stuff that Ed is talking about, this wimpy cut. He's not even talking about a cut, by the way. Ed Gillespie is talking about decreasing taxes with, guess how much money he's proposing to cut in spending? Zero. Nothing. Nada. Let me tell you about something governing a big locality for 10 years. You cannot cut taxes unless you cut spending. That's the only way to do it. So here's the second thing we're going to do, and then I'm just going to open it up for questions. 10 years ago, and I remember Ray Tranchant very, very well back then, and we've become friends since then. I've seen him several times just over the last few weeks. His daughter was killed, as you remember, in Virginia Beach by a drunk illegal alien who should have been deported, and her friend. In Prince William County, we had a series of murders committed by illegal aliens. And when the voters of Prince William County came to me and said, "What are you going to do about it?" Initially I said, "I don't know if there's anything we can do, but we certainly are going to try." So we put together the toughest crackdown on illegal immigration anywhere in the United States. Anywhere. And within 10 years, we have handed over to ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, more than 7,500 criminal illegal aliens over to ICE for deportation.
Amen.
The
Amen.
violent crime rate went down by 48.7% in 2 years.
Wow.
Now, look, folks, regardless of how you feel about immigration, and I support immigration provided that it's lawful. I mean, after all, my wife is an immigrant, and I love her. Right?
We love her too.
You love her too. Immigration is good, but it has to be lawful, because right now we have a chaotic system. And when people come across the border and they're not screened, we don't know whether they have a criminal background. We don't know whether they can come here and they can support themselves and their families. We don't know if they have communicable disease. We know nothing about that. We don't know if they have some terrorist motives. We know nothing about them when they come across the border. So you have to have border security, and you have to have internal enforcement as well. The policy that we put in place in Prince William County has worked. Not a single case of racial profiling has occurred. Not one. And we have 660 police officers in our police department, plus our sheriff's deputies, and not a single case of racial profiling. When I'm governor, we're going to make sure of this, that if somebody commits a crime, we're going to check their immigration status once they're arrested. I'm not talking about a traffic infraction. I'm talking about an arrestable offense where they're brought into the jail. And when they're in jail, we're going to check everyone's immigration status, just like we do in Prince William County today. We don't care about your races. We don't care about your ethnicity. We don't care what language you speak. We check your immigration status. And if you're here illegally, you serve your sentence, and then you're handed over to ICE for deportation. That will be the policy in Virginia.